Hi, romance readers. I am Liz Donatelli. Welcome to Reader Seeks Romance, the #1 romance novel talk show on YouTube. Author Samara Parish joined me to discuss her Regency historical romance, How to Deceive a Duke. Samara also chatted about her Rebels with a Cause series, her STEM heroine, the woman in pants trope, and the things she dislikes most about writing historical fiction. And Samara played random Regency trivia. Enjoy, and be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Hi, Samara. Welcome to Reader Seeks Romance.
Hi, nice to be here.
Congratulations on the release of your Regency historical romance, How to Deceive a Duke, Book 2 in Rebels with a Cause. Book 1 in your series, Rebels with a Cause, How to Survive a Scandal, received starred reviews from Booklist and Publishers Weekly. How did you feel going into writing How to Deceive a Duke?
I went into writing How to Deceive a Duke on the adrenaline of just having gotten this contract for How to Survive a Scandal. So it was just like, oh my goodness, this, like, my dream is happening. Let's run. So I think I was too excited to be nervous. This past year, I've been writing book 3, How to Win a Wallflower. And that's when it was like, oh, is anything I'm ever going to do going to live up to book 1? Like, I don't know. So yes, book 2 is just adrenaline.
For those who aren't familiar, what is the overarching theme or the premise of Rebels with a Cause series?
So it features 3 different engineers. They all good friends. They have an engineering firm together, and they're all trying to achieve something bigger than themselves and achieve societal impact. So with How to Deceive a Duke, we have Fiona, who is a woman engineer, which is incredibly rare for that time, and she is obviously fighting for equality. She's fighting for, the rights to work as a woman, because that couldn't really happen. But she's also, she invented matches. Part of the reason why she did it, and part of the reason why she's fighting, is because she wants to make fire accessible to everybody. She wants to make a housemaid's mornings that little bit easier.
How did you arrive at matches?
I had written book 1, and in book 1, it sort of alluded to the fact that Fiona was working on a project, but didn't say what that project was. And then I kind of looked at my time frame and just started Googling what are all the things that were invented around that time, and what would be something that would be super cool. And matches was invented there's the friction match was invented around that time. And I went, okay, cool. Yeah, I could do something with that. And, for Fiona, part of her backstory is that she had to go on a very long walk for days in a Scottish autumn, so it's freaking cold, and fire was hard, and that was sort of her worst time, and she never wants to be cold again, and she never wants to be homeless again, and that's sort of what motivates her. It's a second chance romance, and so Fiona and Edward, they met 5 years ago. Fiona didn't actually know he was a duke at the time, and they had a short love affair because she's too smart. She's too smart to marry a duke. Like, she knows what's going on there. She would, as she sort of says later on, like, I would never have fallen for you if I had known that you were a duke like that. That would never have happened. And so he wants to, this is in the prologue, he wants to marry her, and he goes back to London to say, hey, Mum, look, I know you're going to be really pissed, but I found a woman, and she's common born, and she's not at all what you're expecting. And then for his own weaknesses, that doesn't happen, and he breaks up with her. And so she, the story starts 5 years later. She's in jail. She's in jail. She got arrested at a protest. And the only person who can get her out of jail is the Duke. And she hates it. She hates it.
I'm a fan of forced proximity, and that's essentially what brings, Fiona and Edward together, is this house arrest and forcing them to be together. You might have created a new niche within forced proximity, and it's house arrest.
Yeah. It was really hard because, I hadn't gone into it with a whole lot of planning. This is only the second book that I've written, and I'm trying to write it, and I'm like, but they just wouldn't spend any time together. Like, she hates him. Why? What possible reason could I have for the two of them even being on the same page? And it took a lot of brainstorming with my girlfriends.
I think that you might spawn now a new like subtrope.
Well, that would be like author goal, like achieved, wouldn't it? If you didn't even know that was one of my author goals, but now that you say it, I'm like, yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah. Well, from this day forward, I'm going to say that you, Samara Parish, you created that house arrest trope.
Love it. I'm going to change my Twitter bio.
You
Samara,
should.
creator of the house arrest trope. That's one of my favorite tropes. It's difficult. It was difficult to write. That trope can be really problematic. And that was a new experience for me, like learning about that as I was writing. Edward always knows. It's a girl in pants trope, but the hero knows from the beginning exactly who she is.
I love that twist on that trope. Historically, it's that he doesn't know that the woman is dressed up as a man. That's typically how it goes. So I like that. Yeah, he knows from the beginning, but other characters, I should say, don't know.
And look, she tried really, really hard to sell her matches as a woman, but she was just she just wasn't even getting through the door. She wasn't even getting the meetings. But so that's why she decided to dress up as Finlay McTavish instead of Fiona, because, and, you know, funnily enough, once she did that, she could get meetings. She kind of felt like she had to, and she hated it. I work in the STEM field myself. I'm at a university physics department, and the engineering field today only has 26% women.
Really?
So it's one of the lowest, the least diverse groups in science.
Was the inspiration your own background working in that field that you wanted to make her a scientist and an engineer?
Yeah, absolutely. I was a high school physics teacher for a little while, and the stereotype with physicists and engineers, you know, the older men, grey hair, knee-high socks, representation matters in a lot of ways. And so I was always trying to convince more young girls to go into physics. Like, that's what I was really, really pushing for as a physics teacher. And I think that I couldn't not also bring that into my writing.
Does Edward embody any of your characteristics or attributes?
No, not so much. I found with both Amelia and Fiona, they were the characters that really resonated with me most, and it's really their stories. And then I built the heroes around what do those heroes need to be in order to best tell the heroine's story, in order to challenge the heroine in the way that she needs to be challenged, and in order to help her grow in the way that she needs to be grow. Yeah. What does it need to be?
Swag-bellied numpty is a description that I highlighted. It had me wondering, one, was this a popular Regency era insult? And in thinking that, I was wondering about your research process, about the resources you use. How do you approach research? So how did you specifically approach research for How to Deceive a Duke?
Yep. So swag-bellied numpty, I Googled Scottish insults. And then I went through ones that were, you know, used back then as well, like, as opposed to the ones that are just now. So I'm like, and there are so many good ones. It's like, God, the Scots have some great language. So that specifically with that one, I'm like, I need him to insult the Duke. And what is a good Scottish insult? They might take my historical author card away from me, but I really hate research. It's just not my favorite thing. So I usually, as I'm writing the story, there's lots of insert research here, find out this, like, what is this problem, you know, and I kind of do the research that I need to do in order to make the story work. So for, you know, Fiona, it was, you know, I needed to know what kind of science she would potentially be doing. I've done more research into the science, to be honest. I kind of do it when I have to. I write the story and I put lots of placeholder in, and then I have like a research edit where I just go through and edit it all. Julia Quinn's The Viscount Who Loved Me. And I can even tell you when. It was September of 2001. I was in a mental hospital at the time, and I had weekend leave, and my mother came to visit and took me to the Lifeline Book Festival. And I remember picking it up because it had the blue cover.
Oh, wow. That's like an old school cover too.
Yeah, it's a first edition. And if you can see, it's kind of got like, you know, James Bond had the thing, and it's got the, and I just thought the cover was cute. I'm like, oh, that's kind of funny. And, you know, the Viscount who loved me, the spy who loved me. And so I bought it. That night I was like falling off the bed laughing. And it just gave me the most incredible escape from where I was at that time. And that was the first romance novel I read. And then I just like inhaled every romance that I could get my hands on from, you know, and that's that's over 20 years now. And I met her a few years ago.
I was just going to ask, have you met her? Oh, this is exciting.
I had written this whole letter because I didn't even know how to explain what she had meant to me. And so and then I was that crazy person who was like handing it over, but like crying at the same time. And I'm sure she was very lovely. You know, she was probably like, oh, this person's intense, but you know, she really saved my life. Her, Suzanne Enoch, Lisa Claypass, you know, just Tessa Dare, you know, they just have done so much for me and for so many other people I know. You know, there's a reason that people read romance.
What if Jane Bennet had really died from that trifling cold at Netherfield? How long would Elizabeth have been in mourning? 1 year, 3 months, or 8 months?
I'm going to say 1 year full mourning, and then, or 6 months full mourning and then half mourning.
You're saying 1 year?
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, you're wrong. According to my sources, it is 3 months.
Oh, man. I would mourn my sister for much longer than that.
You would like to think, you know. To call Miss Benson a toad eater would be denouncing her for A, flattery, B, flatulence, or C, flamboyance.
I feel like I've heard toad liquor before.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go flattering. Because, you know, somebody's a toady. Like if he's a toady, he's a...
You're right. Flattery is the answer. Yes. Popular ice cream flavors during the Regency era included which one? Asparagus, cantaloupe, or mint?
Everything, all the books that I read talk about lemon ice.
Yes.
And, cantaloupe's rock melon, isn't it? Ooh. I don't know that rock melon would be in it. Asparagus, definitely not. Asparagus is not an ice cream. I mean, you're going to tell me it's asparagus. That would be embarrassing. I'm going to go with mint because I would have mint ice cream. But you're going to tell me cantaloupe.
Asparagus.
No. Asparagus. Ew.
I know. I was surprised too. I might have to actually cross-reference that answer against other sources, but that's what I found.
Maybe I should try making asparagus ice cream, and I will get back to you and let you know how awful it is.
Yeah. Well, I'm wondering, is it that the asparagus, it's just chunks of it? Like instead of chocolate chip ice cream, it's just chunks of asparagus, or do they blend the asparagus into a green blend and then ice it? And well, you know what? Maybe we should start by taking a piece of asparagus and putting it in the freezer and freezing it and just eating frozen asparagus to see, is there any joy in it?
True. That's a good start.
The opening flap in a gentleman's trousers is called...
The fall.
Did you say the fall?
Yeah. FALL. No? You haven't got that?
Look at you. You didn't even need the multiple choice.
I did
it is called fall front. Yeah.
Fall front. Okay. Yeah.
I will take it. Fall front. I mean, maybe they said fall probably just for short, but yeah, fall front. Yeah, good. Look at you. All right. To wield the yard of tin means A, to blow a horn, B, to draw your sword, C, to flash your money around, or D, to spit on someone.
I'm going to guess sword because you wield a sword And a yard is like, is it a distance? Is it this much? How much is a yard? But like a sword could be, that's about sword length. That's not me knowing any history. That's entirely just deducing that from how to.
Right. Well, you know, honestly, if I was asked that question, I might have gone with that too, because your logic is sound, but it is incorrect. So the answer is to blow a horn, in particular on a carriage to warn arrival and departure. The horn was usually a yard, 3 feet long.
Okay, so the logic's there, just not the right thing. Okay, well.
Yeah, you didn't even need all the multiple choice answers to answer the man's trouser front. You won the whole game. Maybe I'll inspire you to maybe really enjoy research, because the more you know, the more you can win at my games.
That would be good.
Thank you again, Samara, for joining me here on Reader Seeks Romance. It was such a delight to chat with you.
Thank you. It was so nice being here, and I look forward to chatting again.